Students, in this video we will discuss chemical reactions of alkanes. First of all, we will study about halogenation reaction. Students, we must know what is meant by halogenation reaction. It is a chemical reaction in which one or more hydrogen atoms of alkanes get substituted with halogen atoms. यानी ये वो केमिकल रिएक्शन है जिसमें अल्केन्स के एक या एक से ज़्यादा हाइड्रोजन एटम्स हैलोजन एटम से रिप्लेस या सब्स्टिट्यूट हो जाते हैं. स्टूडेंट्स, वी विल अंडरस्टैंड दिस रिएक्शन बाय टेकिंग द एग्जांपल ऑफ मीथेन विद क्लोरीन. नाउ लेट्स स्टडी हाउ मीथेन रिएक्ट्स विद क्लोरीन. वी हैव मीथेन, that is CH4. When it reacts with chlorine gas, and what is the reaction condition, students? Usually this reaction is carried out in the presence of diffused sunlight. What is diffused sunlight, students? यानी diffused sunlight जो है वो क्या होती है? ये छाँव वाली रोशनी होती है. ऑल दो सनलाइट इज देयर, ठीक है, लेकिन हम रिएक्शन जो है वो छाँव या साए में करते हैं. सो द कंडीशन फॉर दिस रिएक्शन इज डिफ्यूज्ड सनलाइट. डिफ्यूज्ड सनलाइट. In the presence of diffuse sunlight, one hydrogen atom of methane get replaced with one chlorine atom, and after the reaction we get CH3Cl plus HCl. CH3Cl, which is formed, is known as monochloro, since it has one chlorine atom, so that's why it is known as monochloromethane. Monochloromethane. Students, once halogenation reaction started, it continue till all the hydrogen atom of alkane get replaced with halogen atom. यानी अगर halogenation reaction एक दफ़ा शुरू हो जाए तो ये उस वक्त तक होते रहते हैं जब तक के अल्केन के तमाम हाइड्रोजन एटम हैलोजन एटम से रिप्लेस या सब्स्टिट्यूट ना हो जाए. इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन द क्वांटिटी ऑफ अल्केन एज वेल एज हैलोजन. Now students, we will see what is the next step of the reaction. In the next step we have monochloromethane. Now we will see what is the next reaction. We have CH3Cl. It will react with one more molecule of chlorine gas, and we know, students, what is the reaction condition. Reaction is carried out in the presence of diffused sunlight. Here we have diffused sunlight. Now in the presence of diffused sunlight, one more hydrogen atom of methane replaced with one more chlorine atom, right students? So after the reaction we get CH2Cl2 plus HCl. How many chlorine atoms are there in this molecule? Since we have two chlorine atoms, so that's why it is known as dichloromethane. Now students, we will see what is the next reaction. In the next reaction we have dichloromethane, and we see how dichloromethane reacts with chlorine gas. CH2Cl2, we have dichloromethane. It further reacts with chlorine gas, and reaction condition is we must have diffuse sunlight here to carry out the reaction. We have diffused sunlight, right students? So in the presence of diffuse sunlight, one more hydrogen atom of dichloromethane get replaced with one more chlorine atom, right students? So after the reaction we will have CHCl3 plus HCl. Since this molecule has three chlorine atoms, so that's why it is known as trichloromethane, right students? Or the common name of this molecule is chloroform. Commonly, trichloromethane is known as chloroform. Now students, we will see how chloroform or trichloromethane further reacts with chlorine molecule. We see the reaction. We have trichloromethane and we will see how trichloromethane reacts with chlorine gas. We have CHCl3. Further react with one more molecule of chlorine gas, and the reaction condition is, here we have diffused sunlight. Diffused sunlight. In the presence of diffused sunlight, one more hydrogen atom of trichloromethane get replaced with one more chlorine atom. So after the reaction, we will have CCl4 plus HCl. CCl4, how many chlorine atoms are there? Since there are 4 chlorine atoms, so that's why it is known as carbon tetrachloride. What is the name of this molecule, students? This is known as carbon tetrachloride or tetrachloromethane. Tetrachloromethane or carbon tetrachloride. I hope this reaction is clear to you, students. Now students, this is the reaction of methane with chlorine in diffused sunlight. Now students, we see if we react methane with chlorine in direct sunlight, then what is the reaction? In direct sunlight, the reaction of methane with chlorine is explosive and it forms carbon as well as hydrogen chloride. Now students, we will see what is the reaction of methane with chlorine in direct sunlight. We have methane. We react methane with chlorine and this reaction is carried out in direct sunlight. Direct sunlight. Now in direct sunlight the reaction is explosive. ठीक है, धमाके के साथ ये रिएक्शन होता है and after the reaction we get carbon plus HCl. Students, the chlorination of methane is usually produces a mixture of products. Right students, we get the mixture of product. If we do the chlorination of methane, the products which are formed, like we have monochloromethane or dichloromethane, trichloromethane as well as tetrachloromethane. So we can say we get the mixture of product. Now we will see what is the trend of reactivity of halogen with an alkane. The trend of reactivity of halogen with an alkane is fluorine. Right students, then chlorine, then bromine and then iodine. It means fluorine reacts explosively. फ्लोरीन का मीथेन के साथ रिएक्शन जोरदार धमाके से होता है. फ्लोरीन reacts explosively with methane. Chlorine reacts slowly in dark at room temperature. Right students, but strongly react with chlorine in the presence of strong sunlight. Bromine is less reactive as compared to chlorine as well as fluorine. Right students, and it needs high temperature or strong sunlight to carry out the reaction, while iodine is unreactive. I hope halogenation reaction is clear to you, students. Now students, we will see the next reaction of alkane. We will see what is the next reaction. Combustion reaction. Right students, combustion means burning. If we burn or ignite alkanes in the presence of excess of oxygen of air, right students, then alkanes after burning will produce carbon dioxide, water and large quantity of heat. During this reaction, heat is evolved. That's why alkanes, they are used as fuel. Students, usually alkanes burn with blue flame in the presence of excess of oxygen. We will understand this reaction by taking the example of combustion of methane in the presence of oxygen. Students, we know what is methane, CH4. This is methane. If we do the combustion of methane, यानी अगर हम मीथेन को बर्न करें या जलाएं in the presence of oxygen of air, excess of oxygen, if we do the combustion, then methane will burn to form carbon dioxide plus water plus heat is evolved during this reaction. Now students, usually lighter alkanes are widely used as fuel because we can control their combustion and they produce large amount of heat. Similarly, they are cheap and they are readily available. If we burn alkane in the limited supply of oxygen, then the reaction is known as incomplete combustion of alkane. How can we do the incomplete combustion? हम incomplete combustion कैसे कर सकते हैं? If we burn alkane in limited supply of oxygen, right students? Then alkane will burn to form carbon monoxide, solid particles of carbon as well as water. We will understand this reaction with the help of incomplete combustion of methane. Now students, we will see what products are formed if we do the incomplete combustion of methane. We have methane, CH4. When methane is burned in the presence of limited supply of oxygen, we get carbon monoxide. Right students, we get carbon monoxide plus solid carbon particles as well as water. Water vapors are formed. Methane is usually used as domestic fuel because it will burn to produce large amount of heat. That's why it is used as domestic fuel. Similarly, methane is also used as fuel for automobiles in the form of CNG. Students, we know what is CNG. Compressed natural gas is known as CNG. Similarly, methane is also used for the manufacturing of urea fertilizer. Students, I hope chemical reactions of alkanes are clear to you.